a woman to become successful, whether she's at a CXO level or at an entrepreneurship level, there are a lot of enablers that need to be in place. And whether that's support system coming in terms of funding or having access to the right pitch ecosystem, or perhaps having access to the right mentorship. So all of this plays a key part in helping a woman become successful, at any level that she operates.
So today we have someone who worked in different domains of marketing across different segments, whether it's education, FMCG, or the deep tech, and have seen especially the marketing side, how this overall, that functions in the domain has evolved over a period of time, and has the flavor of both B2C and the B2B. So today we'll be driving this very interesting conversation with Sumedha Chatterjee. She's serving as Associate Director at AiRo Digital, and we'll drive this conversation from what currently she is responsible, how she is driving this one of the deep tech firm, and then we'll take her inputs and the different aspects of the marketing, how it's evolving, and how our audience can get some insights from this overall conversation. So welcome, Sumedha, to Vision Board team.
Thanks, Arindam, for having me. Hi, folks.
So Sumedha, my first question, it's not a question exactly. You work with a company, which is with the future of, the technologies, the AI space, and especially in the deep tech space. So if you can give us some, that understanding what AiRo is all about, and how you are driving the marketing, especially when it comes to the deep tech.
Okay. So AiRo is all about digital transformation, and as we know, the future of the enterprise is completely AI driven, and that's the future that AiRo is working on architecting. We are also a healthcare automation firm, and we are also building the world's largest AI RPA upscaling platform. So basically driving more AI for healthcare across the world, making healthcare more efficient.
Great. So Sumedha, that you are into marketing, and you are definitely seeing that what the changes which is happening in this field. As per a recent study that it's saying in next year, approx 60 to 70% budget will be focused towards performance marketing, and there will be lesser contribution in the brand marketing per se. So what's your point of view, whether it's the right direction, or that because generally when we talk to the marketer from different domains, so their point of view is that performance marketing definitely is very important, because end of the day to support the company, but at the same time, brand marketing is your top of the funnel. If the top of the funnel is not, you are not doing right manner, obviously directly or indirectly going to impact your performance marketing. So what's your point of view in this regard?
I think that of late brands have become, or organizations have become, much more conscious when it comes to marketing value. And that's why perhaps performance marketing has suddenly come into a lot of limelight. The great thing about performance marketing is that it certainly enables a marketer to present a very demonstrable impact on demand generation. And that's really good for performance marketing. The thing with brand advertising is that there's certainly a latency effect. And maybe that's the reason why that it's being deprioritized a bit at the moment. But to say that only performance marketing can be the needle mover would be a bit of a stretch, and it would be doing a tremendous disservice to all the other aspects of marketing. Because brand building is perpetual, and a brand is an asset, and it certainly helps you to optimize on some of your other marketing investments as well. So that's how I feel that for the moment, yes, performance marketing is having its moment under the sun, and certainly it's more evidence-based and does tend to have a demonstrable impact, but it cannot be ignored at the cost of brand building for sure.
Definitely. Now, that currently, like, you are associated with the company, who are into future of technologies. And when it comes to the technology, it's very, very important to make sure that your customer, they're completely aware of the value proposition. But at the same time, you also have to be, that uh, flag bearer, or you also have to support your sales team to make sure that you're acquiring the new customer again and again. So how you are that you are structuring your marketing mix, especially in your when you are associated with the technology company.
The most effective marketing organization is the one that is structured around demand generation. And that can happen across different skills. So paid campaigns is definitely an important skill to have in any marketing org. So is content, and I'm a huge advocate of content marketing. So yes, that's definitely one skill that's a must have in any marketing org. Apart from that, social media, definitely, because more and more brands are it's not just about having a presence on social media. It's also about educating your customers. It's also about outreach. It's also about direct customer conversations. And finally, I see that video is becoming a skill which is more and more important for marketing organizations to have in-house. So broadly, I would say that content, paid campaigns, social media, and video are good skills around which an entire marketing organization can be built.
Okay, great. Now you mentioned about the content marketing, and definitely when everything is going digital, at least for a time being, and at the time when not we were ready to have a face-to-face, exhibitions or event for the customer. So we're heavily dependent on the content, what kind of content that you're using to at least capture the eyeball of the for a customer. Now, how you feel that like the new that the way that people are designing the content is like they're using the technology or they're using AI to drive the content. Do you think that technology gonna overpower that content writer when it comes to building the content for the organizations, or it will go hand in hand?
So first and foremost, content, I think, is very difficult to scale, but it's definitely one of the most sustainable ways of building a brand. Now, how that content gets generated is at present, there is definitely technology which is helping us scale that content. And, technology has made huge, deep inroads into content marketing. So right from template-based content generation. So AI does tend to have a lot of influence on that kind of content. Apart from that, helping us understand as marketers, helping us understand what kind of content really gets traction even before it gets published. So I think some insights into that can definitely help us up level our content marketing. And I would say that the ideal content marketing scenario is when content becomes so relevant and customized, hyper contextualized, just like Netflix. So they've understood the consumer preferences so well that they are able to align their products as per individual preferences. So that for me is probably the end goal for content marketing till it becomes mainstream. But yes, brands are definitely catching up, using more and more AI in their content and making it more relevant, personalized, and contextual.
Yeah, it's a very important point that that what you were saying, that there is the right blend between the technology and the creativity. So you're using technology to drive your analytics, so that the organizations or the marketer, they can have a more and more understanding around the customer, what they want, how they're consuming, what the platforms they're going, what are the frequency, and based on that, marketing teams, they can build the content per se to drive the right ROI from this overall initiative. Yeah. So now you like it initially, because while I was going through your profile, you've been to B2C, and now you are into complete, I believe, your B2B. Do you see any difference of the treatment around the content marketing when it comes to B2C or B2B, or that? So what do you suggest that in B2C we are the top three parameters that one should follow? If in B2B they are the top three parameters that one should follow when they're building the content marketing for an organization.
Yeah. So if you ask me, Arindam, I think, there generally seems to be this opinion that B2B is very different from B2C. But having done both, I can say with some bit of certainty that the fundamental principles remain the same. So even in enterprise marketing, we are educating our customers, overcoming objections, addressing visibility, and at the end of the day, still marketing to a human. So instead of, and my advice to young marketers is that instead of becoming too focused on whether it's B2B or B2C, please focus on acquiring the right skills. So email marketing, for instance, so it's nearly the same as a skill in B2B versus B2C.
Yeah.
So acquiring the right skills is of ultimate importance. I know there is this head rush whenever a consumer marketing brand, hits from 0 to 100 mil. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's important to have the core principles of marketing, so to speak, right. And a good marketer can straddle both B2B and B2C with equal ease, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've spoke about the content and how the technology, is playing a key role, and at least that, how the marketer, they should keep in mind how they can use the technology to make, their content marketing more result oriented. Now I go to a little, the different side of, that, the function into like social media. Now, social media, so this question is not from the marketing, per se. This is from the more of a user point of view. Now, if you see the social media, so all the company, and whether it's B2C or B2B, so we're using this platform to, to establish our narrative, to, amplify, organizations' thoughts to our audience, so on and so forth. But what do you think that, because anyway that, Gen Z, they're getting, getting addicted to this platform. So what's your, that point of view around this, social media as a platform, not for the marketing, just as an user, how is going to impact the future of, that our world. So what's your, the thoughts?
Okay, so as a marketer, I love social media because it allows me to be in constant contact with my customers, even though they may not like it. As a consumer, I certainly wish I had ways in which I could be more selective about consuming content. The fallacies of social media are becoming more and more evident for the upcoming generation, who are consuming content and shaping their perceptions, shaping their opinions about their own self by consuming content, which perhaps could be sponsored, which perhaps may not have the best interests at mind. And this is what worries me as a consumer, as a mother, that we do not have any fail-safes, or we do not have any controls over the way this entire social media content or the conversations on social media are developing. So as a consumer, I certainly have my reservations. As a marketer, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So all of us are using social media not only to promote the organization, at the same time, we're using this platform for personal branding as well. Now, on the personal branding part, so there was a time when, that, so all the organizations, they, that they used to use social media to promote their product or the organizations, or in the purpose of the brand, and so on and so forth. But from last couple of years, we're also seeing that even in the big MNC, they're using their leadership team as the face of the organization, and creating an ecosystem, and that how that face, or that can create a personal brand, and which can directly or indirectly also impact the the brand or organization where he or she is working. So what's your thought around it?
Yeah, so brand evangelism is here to stay. And there are companies that have been doing this for some time. Of course, now it's becoming more and more prevalent. But the reason why it is becoming so popular is because customers, prospects have a natural aversion to being sold to. But if the same message comes from a peer, from someone who's a friend, or for someone who's probably in my network, I'll be much more receptive to it. The problem with brand evangelism is that it's very difficult to measure and it's very difficult to scale. Whether not just brand evangelism for that matter, even word of mouth, it's very difficult to measure and scale, and that's why it hasn't received the credit which it really deserves. I have seen a lot of leadership across organizations promoting the brand, which I think is a fantastic thing. If you yourself don't own up to what you've created and the value that you're generating for your for the world out to see, how do you expect employees or for that matter prospects and customers to start seeing and believing in that value? And I think organizations need to develop this more and more, not just the employees or leadership, but they are losing out on brand evangelism from their prospects, right? Or from the potential, or even from the customers, from influencers. So from everyone that you touch as a brand, there is opportunity to induct them into brand evangelism. And smart brands are doing it really well. So I've seen a lot of companies doing it. So just hope that it becomes more mainstream.
Yeah, so you're right. That your employees can be your own evangelist.
Yeah.
If it's used, that in the right way, and if the right strategy is implemented. So why not, that to take this part. So it's great to see that, how this overall online or the digital or the social space is evolving. My next question, which is a little different from, that your social digital or the overall marketing part. So you were, that. So you're one of the women leader in the marketing, that function. But as per the, that one the recent study, which is saying that there is only 13.76% woman entrepreneur, in India. So why we are not having more and more, women leader or women entrepreneur, especially leaders still we can see,
Yeah.
but especially when it comes to the entrepreneurship, we can see the very less, that single women entrepreneur in India.
The reason, and I'm just possibly pondering of the reasons why it could be. I'm by no means an expert on entrepreneurship. Uh, for a woman to become successful, whether she's at a CXO level or at an entrepreneurship level, there are a lot of enablers that need to be in place. And whether that's support system coming in terms of funding or having access to the right pitch ecosystem, or perhaps having access to the right mentorship. So all of this plays a key part in helping a woman become successful, at any level that she operates. In India of late, whether it's micro entrepreneurship or even for that matter, entrepreneurs at any level. So this ecosystem is still developing. As a society, we need to be more open and supportive towards women, even in the corporate world. So there are, the percentage of women in both positions across India is dismal. So that gets addressed right at the root level. So be it entrepreneurship or be it movement of women to really senior or CXO level positions, all of that starts right at the induction phase. So we induct the employees with potential, we groom them, and of course then we put them on the fast track to development. So entrepreneurship or C-level positions for women will be the outcome of these things done right consistently over a period of time.
And and what are the that suggestion that you want to give to the male leaders to nurture that your women managers to take a leadership role in the organization?
There seems to be this general mindset that there should be a level playing field. And I'm all in for a level playing field. But speaking on behalf of the women that I know, history has not always been kind to us. So, getting to the big table and sitting at that table takes perhaps a larger runway or longer runway for women than most men. So my request to leaders who are men is that give capable women in your teams opportunities to stand up. They sometimes may not be confident enough that they can deliver on an ambitious project, but if you display faith, if you display trust in their abilities to deliver, because as women we bring very different skill sets to the table. We are definitely more empathetic, more emotionally intelligent, and I stand corrected if research doesn't support that. So all those skills can create perhaps a more holistically balanced team. You need to have both type A and type B in an organization to succeed. Similarly, we need to have people across different genders with different skill sets to make it more inclusive.
Yeah, great. Uh, so, Sumedha, like currently you are, managing the marketing leadership role in AiRo that's digital, and you just mentioned that you are basically, driving the digital transformation across different verticals. Now, when it comes to India, and I remember that again the pre-pandemic situation, so digital transformations were more relevant towards the enterprise accounts, like your 1,000 employees, 2,000 employees, and for the SMB, digital transformation was maybe buying a ERP
Yeah.
or some XYZ, but things have been completely changed. Do you think that the India small and medium business community there right now they're realizing the importance of technology, or they still think there's an expenditure and we can do it manually?
So I'll speak from experience on this, and not just at AiRo, from the other organizations that I've worked with as well. So digital transformation is still seen as a good to have for organizations, not a must have. For SMBs, it can make a killer difference, and they don't realize it yet. Why? To compete with the big players in the market, you really need to get a lot of things lined up. And some of those manual interventions, perhaps you just cannot afford them yet on your books, which is great. But automation can really turn you into, an engine which can compete at the same level as some of your more well entrenched, better funded, and more deep-seated competitors. So for SMBs or SMB automation, I think it is not good to have. It is a must-have. They need automation. They need digital transformation, not to compete but to survive.
Yeah, and also that when it comes to the automation, there's a one more fear, especially in our countries, that automation is going to take away the jobs.
Yeah.
Right. And but if you see the the Western world, where already that people are they're quite advanced in technology space, it is not the case. Jobs are still there. That
Yeah.
and both human and technology, they're working together to achieve a certain goal. Uh, so what's your that thought around it, that whether really automation is going to take away jobs, or we're going to coexist in this way?
So automation is going to take away jobs is just one half of the sentence. The other half is that it's also going to create jobs, as many jobs if it takes away, perhaps as not many, but new and different kind of roles. And perhaps those roles will be more rewarding. They will give employees the opportunity to do more strategic value addition work as opposed to manual and perhaps more debilitating rote kind of job roles. So we have to be open about it. I know perhaps in marketing, there are many roles which can be automated. So we have to be constantly aware that the work that we are doing at any moment, it can be automated. But it's also an opportunity for us to realize that, yeah, hey, there's this chance for us to take us at the next level, to move up a notch, to upskill ourselves. And that's how I think lasting careers get built, not by doing the same thing that we've done for perhaps 30, 35 years, but constantly anticipating the change, being ahead of the change, and moving ahead with the times.
Yeah, you're right. And now, tell me one thing, like, so in AeroLab, especially that, when I'm going back to your earlier question, that when you're selling the solution, do you think how important it is to, because it's not a, instant buying, that you'll see it online and buy it. So therefore, the loss of nurturing is required. So how important it is to nurture your customer, to push the customer from awareness to consideration stage, so that they're ready to have a conversation with the sales guy?
Good that you raised this point, Arindam, because I see a lot of this happening on LinkedIn, especially. So every time I see a connection request pop up, I know that there is a sales pitch which might follow that. So I don't detest it. I just wish I could educate them that this is the wrong way to perhaps you could do it in a better way. Uh, the way you mentioned nurture, right? And this nurturing is absolutely missing in today's marketing funnels from many organizations. And this is the key to doing a lasting impact on your customers. HubSpot does it really well. They educated the customers so much without it all being pushy about the products that now they have created a community of marketers who perhaps are ready to move at the next stage of the funnel. It takes a minimum of 7 interactions to actually get the customer interested. And nowadays, those 7 interactions, especially in B2B, are completely missing. So, the 7 interactions or those 8 interactions done right before anyone can actually sell are crucial. So if you just sell, so that's an opportunity lost with the customer. But if you do those 7 or 8 interactions right, you're educating the customer, getting his attention, and of course, you're not annoying or irritating him as well, but building him into the funnel itself.
Yeah, this is a very, very important message. Whether it's not only for the, that for our community members who come from the small and medium business or startup, and this is also applicable for the big enterprise organization as well, where that marketeer, they're working as the extended sales arm, organization, and which is basically completely diluting the genesis of the marketing as a function. Why marketing is anyways there. So it's a very important point and very the clear message that to both the world. So Sumedha, that right now we have a that very quick rapid fire round. So tell me one thing, that what are 3 things that you think that you wish that you knew before or when you started your marketing, like when you were currently in a leadership role, and what are 3 things that you should say, okay, when I started I should have done all these 3 things in an early phase of my career.
So 3 things I wish I had known before I became a marketer, right? So one of them would certainly be that marketing lifelong. So the delta for marketing is very high. It's very steep. So understanding that you have to constantly learn, unlearn, and relearn is very important. The second thing that I wish I had known, or perhaps I think it's right time to sound the early stage marketers, is being open to experimentation as a marketer. So even if you're at the CMO level or if you're just starting out, your experimentation is your biggest asset. Your ability to experiment and bring continuous new and renewed value to your organization adds to your profile as a marketer, builds your credibility as a marketer. And the third thing that I wish I had known is that change in marketing is like every 2 or 3 years you have to keep up with changes in technology or changes in platform. So even if your organization doesn't support you in terms of your learning, you have to create your own sandbox. Create your own sandbox, create your own blogs, do your own podcast, learn at your own expense. This is what I think I should have known before I became a marketer.
Yeah, it's a very that interesting. And one point that you very clearly mentioned, that the ability or courage to experiment. Nowadays, that what you observe, that people or the market, they want to be very, very tried and tested route. Okay, and also responsible the leader in an organization to give that freedom so that they can experiment. Because when you do 100 things, at least your 50-60% thing will be right, and it will add value. Rather than you are doing 10 things and you don't know out of 10 how many will really add to the organization. A very interesting point. So now, second one is that your 3 traits of a successful marketer.
3 traits of a successful marketer. One, definitely being more data driven. So experimentation is fine, as you said. The experimentation must be backed by data, and data is it has no loyalty. So it's pretty much in black and white. So giving you the ability to stand and support your experiments. The second trait I would say is, again, being completely customer centric. So if you don't speak to your customers often, if you don't do focus group discussions, or if you're not connected directly with the line of customers, you'll always be dependent on someone else for the positioning, for perhaps the strategy. And that is like a house of cards that can collapse anytime. So as a marketer, take the reins of customer connections directly with yourself. And that is a very powerful skill set to have. The third thing which I feel is important for a marketer is that you have to be constantly open to pivot. Because if you experiment, right, at some of those experiments will fail. So not being so much in love with the baby that you cannot move on. So be ready to pivot, walk away, move on from things that are not working, instead of trying to flog a dead horse. Find the next value that you can generate through perhaps another experiment which is data backed.
And and one decision that changed your life.
So for me, this is the no-brainer. The day that I decided to pursue marketing, that for me was professionally, that was for me the biggest pivot point that I experienced.
Okay, so great. So that was my last question to you, Sumedha. So
thank you, Arindam.
We are at our end of our conversations, and we really enjoyed. And there are a couple of interesting points that you had raised in this conversation. I'm sure that our audience, they will get some value out of this overall conversation that we just had today. Thank you very much, Sumedha.
Thank you, Arindam.
Thank you.